Hi everyone, we're the Birmingham Architecture Association. If you've been to all the other events this week, you would have heard me talk. I say this quite a few times, so thank you for joining us again. It's been a fantastic week so far, and I just want to say thank you first and foremost to our sponsors who have made it all possible, and that's our patron sponsor Alamir, and then our sponsors All Good, Outro, Ibstock Bricks, Rainers, Taylor Maxwell, and Kitchen Gallery. And Ibstock Brick. Sorry if I've missed anyone else, Milliken. And so this week has been a fantastic chance to celebrate women in architecture for International Women's Day. We've sort of done done a whole week of celebrations, which includes an exhibition, which Sarika might touch on, a parenthood in architecture, kind of coffee and cake session, a employment law workshop, and a great opening ceremony for International Women's Day, which included Sunita Singer, Libby Watts, Anne Neverwood, and Tegan, talking about the Birmingham Architecture and Design Women's Network, the BAD Network, and also other initiatives that they've done, as well as starting their own businesses, which is really exciting. And then tonight's kind of our last webinar of the evening. We're joined obviously by Laura and Hannah from Cream and Black, and Sarika and Catherine will be kind of presenting this, and then tomorrow we just have a Latin yoga to finish off the week. But for those of you who haven't joined us before, we're the Birmingham Architecture Association. We're just a group of people that are passionate about architecture and built environment, whether that's kind of on a social level as well as just improving quality of work. And do email us at ba@birmingamarchitecture.com if you want to be part of our newsletter mailing list, or any questions that you have or any ideas that you have. We're always open to kind of include them into our year of events and also further research. And that's enough from me. I'll pass you over to Sarika Cavallo. She's architect at ADP, and she will be joined later by Catherine, Masters and student ambassador for the Birmingham Architecture Association, who's just waving there. So thank you very much, and do enjoy tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Marina. So the BAA, we're delighted to introduce tonight Cream and Black founders Hannah and Laura. Both women have a wealth of knowledge of working as interior designers within the built environment and working alongside contractors and architects on projects. We've therefore asked them to share their journey as women and business owners and discuss with us how they've overcome any challenges they've faced in reaching their career goals. The audience Q&A session will be held at the end, but if you have any questions as the ladies are talking, please do pop them in the Q&A chat box. That's at the bottom of your screen, and we'll try to get through as many as we can at the end. And that's it from me. Over to you, Hannah and Laura.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Hannah, the Creative Director of Cream and Black. At Cream and Black, we run a full-service interior design studio that designs homes from concept through to completion across the UK. Within our team, we encourage creativity, forward thinking and fresh ideas to think outside the box. Our design studio has evolved over the past 7 years, and we've built a reputation for beautifully balanced interiors, blending traditional influences with a modern approach for design. So a little bit about myself. After graduating with a BA Honours in Textile Design at Central St Martin's College, although printing and interiors were my passion, I quickly realised that there wasn't enough problem solving within the life of a print designer. So I secured some work experience in interior design in a studio in Chelsea, where I went on to become a junior designer and then learn on the job really, and that gave me a really good base for my career. Since founding Cream and Black, we've been on quite a long journey, haven't we? Which at times has been turbulent, facing many challenges along the way, whether that's with contractors or uncovering problems on site, or the building's previous life and its quirks, or managing the trickier client and learning how to navigate and solve issues. At Cream and Black, we've got an honest and hard work ethic, and we're ever evolving and honing our design processes and developing our team who continually try to develop new ideas and try new things on each project. We intend to grow our business and continue pushing our brand and securing as many projects as we can where we can really push our creativity further. I think great business comes from teamwork. And without Laura, our design director, Cream and Black wouldn't be where we are today. She's methodical in her work, confident and passionate about her trade. And now that I've got 2 young children, I have to be even more efficient during work and business hours, and she's helped carry us through when I've been delirious from lack of sleep or teething babies. And on that note, I'll pass you over to Laura to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Laura. I am Design Director at Cream and Black. I graduated with a BA Honours Architecture, and this gave me a great foundation for interior design. During my studies, I became fascinated with how people use an interior of a building, and I knew this was what I wanted to do. I really love the problem solving that comes with interior space planning and getting the best out of the space for our clients. I enjoy the personal growth and challenge that comes from creative collaborations with both our design team and external specialists. When I came out from university, I landed myself an internship which progressed into full-time employment with another highly acclaimed interior design studio in Birmingham. I was thrown into the deep end, and within the first week I was involved in the creative design and the translation of these designs into detailed working drawings and supporting documentation for high-end residential private clients. The nature of the projects dictated that I got experience in designing private spas, ski chalets and extravagant homes, and this gave me a chance to experience the use of high-end products and research materials and finishes. It was a great experience. 5 years ago, when I was ready for a new challenge to progress my career, I was hired by Cream and Black. I have a passion for fresh and original creative solutions combined with a level-headed and rational approach, which has allowed me to work my way up through the business to help kind of streamline the way we work and make us more efficient and process-driven without losing our creativity as designers. Both Hannah and I have a hands-on approach to the entire creative process, meaning that we oversee everything and each project is curated with the utmost attention to detail from inception to final delivery on site and stays on brand.
At Cream and Black, we've got a wealth of experience combining interior and architectural design, and we try to maximise the potential of each space that we work with, whilst also being friendly and flexible in our approach. We also have the project management skills to be able to communicate all of our ideas and our designs to contractors on site via site visits, FaceTime, emails, and all of the above. Our ethos is centred upon the delivery of timeless and quality interiors by a team who really get to know and care about their clients and their homes. Every project is handled with professionalism and attention to detail. Our focus is to inspire our clients by creating a finished project that goes above and beyond their expectations. We pride ourselves not only on not pushing our design style upon our clients, but really listening to them and developing their unique brief for their project so that they trust us to take all of their wishes forward on their behalf.
Thank you, Hannah and Laura. That was really interesting to see where you've both individually come and how you sort of merged together within Cream and Black. What specific obstacles have you overcome to build a business, and how did you respond or adapt? Did you encounter any specific problems trying to build a business?
Well, running a small business in the design industry, especially interior design, you've got to be a jack of all trades. So having knowledge about not only the aesthetic, but also about elements of construction, electrics, lighting, materials, and also with the business side of things. So you're expected to know how to manage people, deal with recruitment, marketing, business development, and accounts. And these are things that, being a creative, I would naturally shy away from. But there is no escape if you are running a business. So we have been on a steep learning curve, but the more we problem solve and learn how to stand up for our business and ourselves, the easier it becomes and more we learn as we go along. So
I think there's still kind of a stigma around females in the construction and architecture industry, and the value that interior design is still underestimated. So whilst we're females in interior design and you are the prominent gender, we're faced with challenges when we work as part of a wider team, because the construction and architecture industry is kind of male dominated, and this is normally who we work alongside. So when I first started out, I was nervous talking to people on site, giving direction to teams, because I was worried that I wouldn't know what to answer if they asked me a question. But I quickly learned that it was acceptable to say, I'll get back to you, or let me find out and I'll get you an answer. And I think people respect you more for saying you don't know, rather than just pretending. And the best way to learn respect from your job is just to do it and do it well. And I think that's the way you can do that. Just touching on a recent example of that, we were working on a project that was recently completed. We were working with a design team, so alongside an architect, QS, project manager, builder. And the QS openly admitted that when he was first introduced to Hannah and I, that he thought we were a pair of airy, fairy, blonde interior designers. But that was until he we put our mark on the project, we delivered all our technical specifications and our designs whilst holding our own throughout the process. But because he automatically had that initial feeling in his head, it still left us open for scrutiny and kind of made us an easy target, I guess, throughout the process. Mm-hmm.
No, thanks. It's quite interesting because it draws a lot of parallels with, architects and female architects within the industry. There'll be many a times you're at site and you're the only female, so it's good to draw those parallels. How have you responded to the current pandemic? Has your previous journey prepared you somehow to deal with this crisis?
Well, the last year has been tricky during the pandemic, but we're extremely grateful that we have been able to carry on doing what we're doing and carry on working and creating beautiful and purposeful spaces. We successfully moved all of our design team to working from home, and I'm really proud of them because they've kept on top of their projects and been really positive throughout, so that's been good. We've been using Microsoft Teams daily to try and get a bit of a feeling of working together, and they've all been such hard workers and showing initiative and dedication to their work throughout. We utilise a furlough scheme as well, a little bit when required, and everyone's personal situations are so different, so we just try to support the employees if they needed to utilise furlough, but equally it works for the business, so it's a bit of a dual aspect, so we use that a little bit differently.
Yeah, I think in hindsight, looking back at last year, whilst we were busy throughout the whole of the pandemic and busy on design work and projects, there has been a financial impact to us. We are a small business, a small team, and that's mainly due to delays on some of our bigger projects, which meant that they were delayed by sort of 5 to 6 months, which led to kind of additional costs and time our end. We kind of made the decision in some instances to actually hurt the client to swallow that cost. And so there's lots of extra project coordination, so it can arrange delivery for everything, reorganising those. So that was a problem that we faced when the pandemic first hit, that we've got everything scheduled, but actually then we have extra storage costs. So all of those things we have to reorganise again, and then even kind of site changes. So if someone had COVID on one of our building sites, that might push the project back by a week, 2 weeks at short notice. It's all of that kind of extra coordination time, and that time is then spent up on those projects rather than marketing or trying to find, because we're investing in those clients and we needed to make sure that we delivered their projects. Yeah, and when the pandemic first hit last spring, new project inquiries just came in a lot slower, and then there's 1 or 2 projects that were halted altogether and put on hold.
until those clients had better cost certainty or they knew what was going on with the economy. And even now, we've found there's still quite
Oh, I think we've just lost connection with you guys, Hannah and Laura. Can you hear us?
Hi.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Just a bit of a technical glitch.
There you go. Can you see that now?
Yes, perfect. Yeah, we're up and back and running.
I wonder how long we were talking.
I think we got most of that. We'll just carry on from where we were.
So the pandemic, it slowed us down, to be honest, but it also has given us time to reflect on our business strategy and what we want to achieve next. So we've been able to kind of use our time effectively. And then during the first lockdown, our lease came to an end for our old business premises, and we always wanted to move close into Birmingham city centre. We found a new home in Harborne, and it's got a design studio but also a shop front. We'd always talked about this one day, but we just hadn't had time to set it up. So we thought about having everything underneath one roof, the design studio and the shop was a really good idea, because then we'll be able to show our clients what we do, be able to show they can trip and build products that we might suggest for their project, and it's only going to help and benefit and build trust with our clients. So I'll be selling interior accessories, made to order furniture, home fragrances, and also offering like styling advice in the boutique. So when we're finally able to open, come down and see us and look to meet you all.
No, that sounds really interesting. I think the concept of a studio and a shop is useful, and I think hopefully when the regulations relax, people can pop over and have a look at your shop. With a lot of people now working from home, some have struggled to separate their personal and working lives. How do you both personally manage the work-life balance?
Sometimes it's not easy, that's for sure. And the stresses of running a business can lead to like sleepless nights and long hours. And I've always put a lot of pressure on myself, but that's just how I am and how I get things done. I've got a 4-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old son, so 2 children bring a whole new level of juggling for life. But first of all, when they came along, I had to juggle and overcome mum guilt. So going back to work quite quickly after having a baby, it's really hard because you question whether you do the right thing, and if you're you're not cozied up at home with your newborn and you're out on a building site freezing, you do question things. But then you just have to reflect and look at the positives and keep going really and pushing, because you're doing it for all the right reasons, not only yourself but for your children. So I think I'm a lot better at it now, and mum guilt is gone, so I just crack on full steam ahead. But I believe that trying to create a successful business being female can present some challenges, and I have found it hard at times dividing my time because of those reasons. But yeah, we all need to create a comfortable work-life balance. So we've introduced flexible working for staff, and that's what I do as well. And that's going well. And COVID kind of coming into the play as well has only taught us all more about how efficient we can be when we need to be.
Yeah. I think being control freaks, as most interior designers are, I think it can be difficult to manage that kind of work-life balance. So personally, I try to meticulously plan my time. So I know that when I leave the office, that kind of work's finished as much as it can be. I'd rather stay kind of extra 20, 30 minutes, an hour to finish something off than be sat at home worrying about it, or waking up at 4 in the morning thinking about, I need to do that. With technology, having emails on your phone and constantly clients WhatsApping you and stuff, I think you can easily slip back into that constant work mode. So when I get home, I try and put my work phone away, and try and have those boundaries with clients that we work normal kind of officey hours, although we'll go above and beyond for people, that we still need that work-life balance. And I think like during lockdown, especially, I made sure that I was still getting that like going to work feeling. So getting up, going for a walk, putting a podcast on, putting an audio book on, rather than just like rolling out of bed and into my desk. That just helped me. And I think exercise is a really big thing of switching off.
Yeah, no, I think it's really interesting that, yeah, you're almost always available, aren't you, virtually? So it's making sure that you have those boundaries and you set them early on with clients and consultants. Yeah, so I think it's really relevant for today. So Hannah and Laura, would you like to talk us through one of your recent projects and how as interior designers your input can change and shape the project from the beginning?
So we'd like to take the opportunity to share kind of like more information about the importance of planning an interior design project from an early stage, and we're going to use one of our most recent projects as a discussion point. So we're excited to share more details on the design and reconfiguration at our recently completed Edgbaston project. While seeing the beautiful polished images is great, we thought we'd reflect and share the full design journey to see where we started. This project is a rare example for us that no architect was appointed, so we solely planned the interior layouts and the reconfiguration. Throughout the house, we kind of opened up walls, closed them off, moved doorways, added doorways, and we worked closely with the contractor and structural engineer to kind of implement these designs. Throughout the presentation, we'd just like to focus on a few areas of the project where we were able to maximise the interior and the interior layout to ensure the project reached its full potential for our client.
So our designers' passion for architectural detail means that we always begin from a point of analysis, and the existing layout of the home didn't meet our clients' needs or expectations of the property. It was a stunning property, but the interiors didn't flow, and our clients were keen to ensure it remained first and foremost a family home for them and their 2 children, and it also needed to be comfortable and relaxing. Our clients love to spend time with the family whilst cooking, and the kitchen is the hub of the home. So a social kitchen and dining space was a must. The house had beautiful oversized Georgian sash windows to the front of the property and then large window wall to the rear. However, both of the rooms still felt really dark. The property had beautiful architectural features throughout, but they were hidden behind overly ornate drapes and wild wallpaper and some funny furniture. The existing interior style jarred with our clients and they wanted to modernise while showing off the traditional features to its best effect. The most obvious case in point were the doors to the entrance hall, which had stained glass panels, but you could hardly see them because of the wallpaper and everything that was going on. So those features were actually being lost because of the interior design.
So by removing the dividing wall between the kitchen and the dining room, we were able to maximise the light and give a dual aspect to both spaces. Now, because they've got the windows at the front and the windows at the back, and they're flooded with plenty of natural light and form the perfect spot to kind of relax in like day and night and into the afternoon and at all times. By changing the orientation of the island, this allowed for a more sociable and practical cooking environment. We worked with Roundhouse Design in London to design a relaxed family kitchen, plenty of storage, which included a hidden door within the cabinetry, which leads up to the pantry, which gives a seamless look, and a wide breakfast station, which is perfect for those kind of busy family mornings. So yeah, entering the newly formed kitchen dining room through the original stained glass double doors, you're faced with a bright and open space, 3 large floor-to-ceiling windows at the front and large-scale sliding doors to the rear. As you walk into the dining room, in front of you is the large square dining table, which has got a natural oak top, and it seats up to 10 people. So perfect for entertaining and like hosting people when you can. And beyond that, you get to the kitchen, which is double-sided island, and stalls again for kind of sociable seating.
Yeah, and now with the plain of decor, the gorgeous glass on the entrance doors takes centre stage, and it kind of works with the colour scheme for some of the furniture that we selected. We use large format porcelain flooring from the hallway into the kitchen and right through into the dining room to ensure that all the spaces had much more of a seamless flow to them. A neutral base colour scheme was used for the furniture and soft furnishings, and then we added some colour and warmth through the accessories and choices of artwork. So moving into the formal lounge, when we first visited the property, this room felt a bit forgotten. It was partly refurbished, it's been used for storage, and it needed a lot of attention. So we immediately had grand plans for the space. We wanted the room to have a slightly more formal feel, as the clients already had that family lounge, while still maintaining comfort and functionality. When the previous owners extended this room, there was a large bulkhead which was over 1 metre lower than the main ceiling, and that was due to a flat roof and a terrace above. So when you entered the room, this was the first thing you were welcomed with, which we felt was a little oppressive, and it didn't flow with the rest of the proportions of the room, and it wasn't the focal point that we wanted. So we started making some small architectural tweaks to the space. There was an opening on the opposite side which housed a fish tank originally, so we decided to move the entrance door along the corridor to the opposite side, as there was already a part opening there. So now when you enter through the new doorway, you're immediately welcomed with the increasing height that draws you into the space. To make the bulkhead feel more included within the room, we designed a custom linear divider screen and wall panelling, and it kind of creates soft shadows and a calming atmosphere, doesn't it, when you're in the room? The entrance door has also got the panelling on the inside of it, so it creates a bit of a secret door to the exit. And another benefit to repositioning the door, it allowed for a much more social seating space for the rest of the layout.
So we made the decision to actually remove the fireplace in this room, which we would normally keep or try to retain any kind of period features or architectural features. But unfortunately, we just couldn't make it work with the fireplace being positioned where it was on the back wall. And it wasn't that nice either. So we got rid of it. With our clients wanting a TV in this room as well as entertaining space to look out and enjoy the landscaping, it just didn't work as a layout, and removing that fireplace kind of helped us with a more kind of social and flexible seating. So nowadays, like TVs, they're an integral part of life experience, and they have a big role in a lot of families' everyday life. We designed an integrated TV into a beautiful arrangement of bespoke cabinetry, which spans the whole width of the wall in the living space, creating a new focal point. As Hannah mentioned, our design concept was to make the bulkhead feel integral to the interior space planning. And one way we achieved this was to create kind of different zones. We part divided the space using the linear timber screen, which enabled us to create separate seating area, which featured a daybed, which then created the perfect spot for enjoying the landscape gardens. The new layout of the room allowed us to integrate a mixture of furniture shapes, adding to the sociable nature. And we used a very light palette with soft features and blues, loads of texture, which those colours we integrated into the flowering and planting scheme on the terrace.
So moving on to another area in the house, the master bedroom. The master bedroom suite required quite extensive reconfiguration in order to live up to our clients' expectations. They wanted us to create a stylish, light and airy dressing room ensuite as well. So we were able to reconfigure the space, and we managed to create his and hers ensuites, but also his and hers dressing rooms. So the existing space didn't allow for these grand plans, so we reviewed the surrounding rooms of the house and decided to open up a disused room which would join the current small dressing room. So this part of the house was initially only accessible from the pantry through the kitchen. The additional space really opened up options available to us for the expansion of the master bedroom suite. So by decreasing the size of the existing ensuite, we were able to form a walkway down to the disused part of the house. And this room became his dressing room, where we added a roof light to bring in some natural light into the air, like the space, to make it feel light and airy. And by selecting light finishes, this also helped keep the space like feeling fresh. We use night lights on sensors to guide you down the walkway, so that at night you don't have to turn any lights on. So it's just a nice added detail, isn't it? The staircase down to the pantry remains in his dressing room, but it's the perfect escape. So if you don't want to wake up your partner or the rest of the house, you can just leave down that second staircase. We continued the light finishes into his ensuite as well. We were quite tight on space in there, but with a bit of clever space planning, we managed to get a double-ended large bath and a separate walk-in shower with a bench as well.
So with some reconfiguration of the existing ensuite and the existing dressing room, this became hers. Again, we kept the finished palette light and the bespoke joinery cohesive between the two dressing rooms. We increased the existing window opening in the dressing room and added a new roof light, which drastically brightened the space. We designed her ensuite with a large walk-in shower, which had a seat in it, and a large vanity unit as requested, which had space for a stool as well, so perfect spot for doing your makeup. Within the dressing room, we incorporated pocket doors between his and hers, and that gave the option of opening up the space or dividing it for privacy. So the bedroom itself didn't change much in terms of the structural layout. The room is quite large and well proportioned, and we could work with that. So we reconfigured the furniture layout, which allowed us to have a large feature headboard, and then we were able to create kind of the two separate seating areas, which is a real luxury in a master bedroom, and we use like a really serene palette.
Okay, so now we'll go on to talk about a little bit about styling. Styling is the process of bringing the last layer to our design process. So the art, accessories, books, blankets, and all the things that you add to a space to make it feel complete and personalised. So we've got some examples to run through with you. You can see how a home would feel incomplete and maybe a little sterile without that finishing layer. Giving our clients the complete experience of a full design service is critical, and we'll often be the last team to hand over to the client just before they move into their newly renovated space. Whenever we can, we use items that are meaningful to our clients, so that when they walk through the door, it immediately feels like home. Some clients don't have many items at all, others have a lot, so it really depends, doesn't it, who we're working with and for.
So in my opinion, the best styling feels layered but not cluttered. So there's room for clients to continue adding things in that they collect. When our clients come into the space for that grand reveal, they experience the design kind of with all the senses, and we just want to make them feel like they're welcomed home. We're going to run through a few simple steps on how you can implement these into your own home.
So styling comes with practice, and our designers have got quite a lot of practice now over the years, and it's one of our favourite parts of the installation because we all love plumping a cushion or two. So we're going to talk you through some steps of how to get the professional look at home. So no matter what the scale of the project is, before we start to procure any accessory items, we plan them in our design studio. So we need to get a plan of the space along with specifications of all of the FF&E, as well as the fabric swatches, so that we know it all works together. And then we'll create a list of areas that requires dressing, and then we'll create a list of items to source for each space. So although we carefully curate it, in the studio before we get to site, we may change things up when we get to the final installation based on how we feel on the day and how many of our clients' existing items there are to work with. So sometimes things do change, don't they?
Yeah, so I think it's important to pay attention to the details in the room, including colour, form, texture, height. You don't necessarily want like white shelving unit with white accessories, or they'll just blend. So we want to flatter any feature tones within the space. If the key colour for the scheme is navy or pink, try to place that navy vase on the shelf and balance this with kind of a lower, more neutral item.
So when you're working at home or for a client, you need to start fresh. So empty all of your shelves. So you've got a blank canvas. It's a perfect opportunity to have a clean, have a dust down as well. And then when we're on our installation, we also unpack all of the accessories and lay them all out so in our allocated piles so we can see exactly what we've got. So that's what you can do at home as well. Lay everything out before you meant to start.
So height is vital when starting with arranging your accessories. So the first thing we do is start with the statement large items. You can see we've placed them here on this shelving unit, kind of opposite sides to give balance.
Once we've placed the big items, we next start with books or the larger books. This particular client had an amazing collection of beautiful art books, so that's perfect for us to use. We selected books with similar colours to the rest of the room, and that's a great way to like get the shelving started. So try laying larger books horizontal and stacking them on top of each other, and we aim for about 2 or 3 on top of each other. And then any smaller novels, put those vertically, and then move back to the accessories.
So then we move on to kind of placing your collections of items, and just depending on the size of your shelves and how many shelves you've got will depend on how many groupings you'll need. In this one, we've used 1 in the bottom corner. Often styling, it requires many takes of stepping back, looking what you've done, reworking, stepping back. So yeah.
And then to get personality into your shelves, we like to use clients' photos, artifacts that they may have collected over the years, and then we start to integrate fragrances as well. Home scents are, or fragrance, home fragrance, it's of course really, really popular now. So there's so many on the market. So we'll use candles, different diffusers, and then that starts to build your senses of the space as well.
So finally, give yourself visual breathing space. Leave a place for those new objects that you collect along the way, whether it be travelling or friends gifting you. You don't have to fill the gap just because you feel you must. So leave that space for something you really love when you find it. Take a step back and enjoy your newly styled shelves. So yeah, that takes us on to any questions that you've got in the audience.
Wow, thank you so much, Hannah and Laura. It's been like amazing. And wow, we have so many questions from the audience. So I'll start with the first one. It says, if someone were about to begin their own home redesign project, what would be your best advice to them?
I think get your overall concept very clear from the beginning. Big trap people fall into is getting carried away and losing focus on the project as kind of like a whole.
And all doing things too soon.
Yes.
That don't fit.
Yeah.
So don't look at necessarily at things in isolation, look at the whole project to begin with. And then your interior layouts are kind of just as important as your architecture. So once you've finalised your interior space plan, then before you do anything else, plan your furniture layout. Mm-hmm. So that can be the difference between kind of a good project and an amazing one, because you know that everything else is planned around that. So it makes sure that you've got that kind of electrical point where you've got a console with a lamp, or you've got a downlight if you want to illuminate an artwork, or a socket where you need to charge your phone. So kind of all those things would be
my advice. And then also furniture layouts can help you to begin preparing your cost plan to give you better cost certainty for your project, because everyone's guilty of going online, suddenly ordering something, and then that can quite soon mount up, and suddenly you're over budget, but you haven't specified all your pieces of furniture. So you can, as soon as you've got your furniture space plan, you can simply, print it out and put a figure next to each item, and then set it up and see where you are. So it's those basic things that hopefully help you along the way.
Yeah, that's great. And we have another one, and it says, what are the most common mistakes people make when renovating?
Lack of planning, I think. It's kind of linked to the first question, I guess, that, planning before work starts is the best way to go. So don't appoint a builder until you've got all of your other costs nailed down, because you might have nasty surprises along the way. So I'd really say plan ahead, and also if the best way of doing things is to hire an interior designer, architect, because that's going to bring better cost certainty to your project, because it's all that that's what we do. So we'll be working on a project 3, 6 months or sometimes a year before you get on site, planning, and we're the professionals, so, and mapping everything out. If you're doing it at home, take that time. If the professionals need it, then you may need that amount of time before you rush into things.
I don't think I have anything else to add to that.
I think I actually do agree, because a lot of people do avoid maybe interior designers, like hiring them, because they think it's going to cost them more, but then it actually turns out they pay way more on their own. So it is good to have a professional. And we have another question. Oh, sorry. It says, do you do the building control sign-off and planning yourselves?
Pardon?
Do you do the building control sign-off and planning yourselves?
We can do. Most of our projects recently, we've had an architect on board, or the contractor's taken that on board themselves. But we've certainly done it in the past.
I think, were you asking about building control sign-off? I think. So building control specialists, obviously they sign off the projects, and the contractors undertake that liaison with them. Struggling to hear that one.
Is that what?
I think.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Yeah, that's good. And is it possible to be like an interior designer if you don't have like any design or creative degree? And like what type of training or courses do you recommend if someone doesn't have this degree?
I think it's definitely possible. There's loads of people out there that are in that position and have done really successfully from that. So I think our advice would be to just kind of immerse yourself in design, and I think if you haven't got a degree, there's loads of a lot of people send their CVs in to us asking for work experience, so that's one avenue. So you can do shadowing and try and get into the industry that way. And also there's a lot of evening courses, either local colleges and university offer them as well. So there's things that you can do around your career. And as Laura said, research what other people do to get into the industry, and immerse yourself within, what other designers do and bloggers, and you'll gradually build a bit of a view of the industry and where you may think or see yourself fitting. Because within interior design, there's lots of different roles that you can specialise in, whether it's been purely a CAD designer or FF&E, so just specifying furniture, fixtures and equipment. You can specialise in that, so work to your strengths. I think one of kind of the biggest skills we look for in interior designers, and you don't need to have a degree to do this, but it would involve a bit of training, is the ability to use kind of a technical drawing pack, whether that be AutoCAD or Vectorworks. So I think that would be something I'd strongly recommend looking into, whether it be on a night school or something like that. because it then gives you that technical understanding of how a building works.
And you can start focusing on scale, which of course we can all look at plans in, you know, whatever scale it's printed off. You guys, we can understand it and we can visualize that within a room or a volume or whatever a space. But maybe if you're new to the industry or you want to learn, can you read those plans to be able to work things out? Yeah, scale, it's really important.
I think definitely, yeah. And like, are there the courses? Do you know any courses that would like be able to aid someone, like specific courses?
Well, they change all the time, but you could have a look at, there's like KLC in London, and I know they do online courses, and then BCU, they've got endless courses. I think we've had, I've seen so many on CVs. Even I think Solihull College offer evening courses as well. I think I know some people that have done that. So just research all the new ones that are available to you.
That's really good. I think I have a question as well, Catherine, sorry. There's a good one here about how do you win new clients? Do you have people come to you, word of mouth, or do you ever enter bids or competitions? So how do you get a good steady stream of work coming in?
You want to go?
All of the above?
Yeah.
I think it's a real mix. When you're first starting out, I think you might not necessarily get those recommendations unless it's just kind of recommendations from friends and family. But as you kind of grow, you get those recommendations, and that's we find those are the best.
Yeah, so business to business recommendations or professionals that we may have worked with in the past, they will pass a client to us or vice versa, and it's more of a warm lead as well. You may know that client is serious about their project. We do get a lot of inquiries via the website and on social media. Sometimes people aren't sure what services they require. They may not be sure of their budget. And we might be the first step of them finding out about their project and what professionals are available to them. So we can sometimes form a part of their journey into whether we're appointed or whether not they're looking elsewhere. We'll just help them along in that process as well and give them as much information for them to work out what they require for their project.
Yeah. And like, do you generally like commission bespoke furniture, or is it just like off-the-shelf items?
Again, that kind of depends on the project we're working on and depends how big the budget is. We certainly like to design bespoke furniture because then we can make them, our furniture suit that client more specifically, whether it be the depth of a sofa because he's 6'2", or he needs a high back on it. We can then specify the fabric so it has stain guarding on it and all of those different things. So it really depends on the project, but we do have a great list and network of suppliers.
So first of all, it's client requirements, then the budget. So there's all these different factors. And of course, there's a lot of projects where we do have bespoke items with off-the-shelf items as well. So it does vary.
Yeah, that's great. And what is like the most challenging room in the house to like design?
Definitely bathroom design, because in bathrooms you're often faced with compact spaces. You have to make sure that everything's watertight. Then there's also so many trades involved. So you have, well, we do seem to have loads of trades involved if it's bespoke cabinetry as well. So so you have to be really careful that you're getting your floor plans, elevations, everything correct, and then also going on to a specification of sanitary ware, brassware, making sure that all the parts and product codes and everything is matching up so that you've got the correct flow rates for the showers and liaising with the plumbers. So definitely bathroom design.
Yeah, and I think there's more kind of you need a better like technical understanding when it comes to bathroom design as well. So we need to make sure that if we've got tiles in a shower that they're not that we're working to a certain slip rating so that they're not too slippy when they're wet and soapy. making sure that like you've got enough space next to your toilet, and we'll detail all of these items in our specification. So it's having that understanding of what goes with what, so that you might be buying a toilet from one supplier, but they don't necessarily do the system that goes in the wall with that. So then you have to then work with another supplier to make sure that all the products are compatible. And we'll detail all of this for contractors line by line. So one bathroom specification could be 7-8 pages long, literally just itemizing everything. And if you've got a big house and you've got, I don't know, six to seven bathrooms, that's a lot of information to make sure that you've got right.
And then it sits alongside our bathroom floor plans and elevations. For example, tilers quite often, you know, the traditional way of doing it, you start in one corner and then you go around the room. However, we elevate each wall, of course, so that we ensure that our tile layout's exactly how we want it, and that, you know, shower, thermostats and everything is in exactly the right place. So not only do we have to prepare the drawings and specification, we have to make sure that all the contractors are reading the drawings and they're doing what we want them to do on site. So that might take more site visits or just liaising with the contractor to try and alleviate any issues with rogue contractors not doing what we want.
Mm-hmm. And just a few more. We have one that says, how do you think we can push past the stigma with a little interior designer? So could there be like more collaboration between like university courses or like interior courses just to aid people to enter into the industry?
Yeah, I think, do you mean to help people when they graduate to you know, get industry jobs in industry?
Yeah, it's just like more of like a collaboration between like students and like people in industry.
Yeah, I think, and we do that. We work with, Laura's done some talks at Coventry University, and then we've got a partnership with BCU. So we have a lot of interns. So each year we usually have like 2 interns from BCU. Obviously it's different, it was different last year, we couldn't do it. So we have 2 BCU interns, and then we'll invite them. They do a 2-week placement, and then they can be offered, if that goes well, offered placements over the summer as well. So, and actually one of our designers, we found her at her graduation show, and she's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. And would you say you need to nail down one style before like starting a business? Like your brand looks really seamless. Was it always like that?
No, I think you have to kind of, I don't think we necessarily, well, from the outside, you might think we have like a signature style. And we like to kind of think that we don't necessarily. We might have more of like a signature process and stuff, because we don't want to push certain concepts onto clients.
What we don't want to do is rehash the same design for clients and push our style on them. Each project is so unique, and we always work with like the architecture of the building and the client and their wishes. So yeah, so like, and that links in with our brand development. So it takes a long time to kind of hone our internal processes, and then that reflects in our design work also.
Yeah, and I think we, I mean, what you might see on like Instagram and stuff, it's mainly curated for Instagram in terms of it's instant, but we look at the previous image and we kind of tone it. So although they're different projects, we might pick specific images to go next to another project, so it's cohesive. But it definitely takes time to build that style and get that kind of seamless look. And it's all about just like trial and error, isn't it? Seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. If you've got a client that is prepared to let you kind of run with something, that's great, because you can really be creative and yeah.
We answered the question.
I don't know if we've answered the question or not.
And what do you think like are biggest challenges to like starting up your own practice?
Biggest challenges, well, the list can be pretty long and it can take years to work through that list. That's for sure. I think not just focusing on the practice, but talking about the industry. Our job, and what I keep going on about, is to try and take the stigma away from interior design and interior designers of the past, and to educate people about what we do. Because for us, what we're trying to do is to educate people and to let people know about the value that we bring to projects. So the more we do that, hopefully, new businesses and our business, it's only going to push us forward, so that people really know about the value we bring to people's lifestyles, everyday people living in their homes, financial value that we bring to developers' projects, but also the financial value that we can bring to homeowners. So yeah, they may have to pay for our fees and they think, oh, well, that's a lot of money, but actually the value we bring to the project and, you know, the end result and to their lifestyle kind of speaks volumes.
I think as well, like being in business, you don't know everything. So you have to rely on those other people. So hire the best people you can. Get that advice from an accountant or a business development person, and kind of get freelancers advice from the beginning to help you build that solid foundation, because you're not expected to know everything, and you can rely on other people to help push your brand and your business.
Yeah, and also reach out to other designers, and you know, pick up the phone to people and ask, how have you done it? Have you got any advice? I'm just starting out. So I think people don't use the phone enough now. Yeah, you can pop people an email, and if you don't get through to the person that you'd like to speak to, then send an email and ask for, oh, I'm doing this, or I'm graduating, and we get emails and calls like that. And you know, we try to respond to as many people as we can. Sometimes we'll file something, we're like, right, we need to get back to that person at a later date. And if they're memorable, we will, of course, do that.
Yeah, that's great. And we would love to answer all the questions in the chat box, but I think this one would be our last one because we don't have that much time. So as we're celebrating women in architecture, how do you think women can support each other in the design industry? Just as a together.
I think doing more things like this that we're doing this evening, there are certain networking events, but I think we need to create some new networking events for us ladies and men, where they're a bit more relaxed, where it's not so forced, and yeah, maybe we can host some things here when we can in the summer as well.
Yeah. What was the question again? Sorry.
It was basically saying how can women support each other in the design industry?
Yes, I think it's
conversation, networking with people, little things like getting a nice comment on an Instagram post or a message or something, just saying, oh, I love your design, or just things like that. You don't have to see them as competitors. You can actually connect with them and interact with them to help each other out,
and also that opens doors for collaboration. And well, that was one of the reasons why we got this place, so that we can collaborate and invite a lot of people here, and we can host events. But obviously we haven't been able to do that yet because of COVID. But watch this space this summer; will be a good one.
No, that's really good. Thanks, guys. I mean, I think as well, a theme that's come up a lot this week is mentors as well. So, you know, I don't know if you guys ever had a mentor specifically, or, you know, you sort of mentored each other along the way, and, you know, it's having somebody, to go to ask those questions and to lean on, I think, who's got a bit more experience maybe.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. And that's why we like to have those relationships with BCU and Coventry and stuff, so that we can help those young designers out and start kind of carving their path almost, and just, I think it's really rewarding for us, but also for them. So yeah, definitely mentoring, even if it's not a university student, because it has to be, but that's just what we know at the moment.
No, that's fantastic. And thank you so much for joining us this evening. We had a lot of questions, so we do apologise if we didn't get through your questions today. But I think it's really interesting. I mean, there's a lot of parallels to draw with interior design and architecture, and especially as women in the industry, it sounds like, you know, there's a lot of the same struggles and the need for more networking and mentoring and that sort of thing. But I think maybe a lot of us will be trying your shelved tips out once we learn, you know, how much goes into them. So we just want to say a big thank you to Hannah and Laura for today. I hope the audience, you've all enjoyed it. And a big thank you to our BAA sponsors as well for helping us host this event. And hopefully, yeah, we can all visit you one day and see what your shop holds.
The doors will be open soon, so come down.
Okay, thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.